And we are spotlighting. Oh, did you spotlight at the same time? We're so efficient. Kelly,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for your flexibility and patience there. We had some tech issues right before you got on, so it set us off for a few minutes, but we have our check and we have plenty of time. So thank you for being here. Where are you calling in from?
I'm up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Ooh, amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you technology for being able to channel Kelly right in here. So we're going to talk about with Kelly today, when and how to start scaling with ads as beginner. And this is really important because we keep hearing about we keep talking about paid traffic, running ads, and that can be something that's really overwhelming, especially the setup part as a beginner, but such a powerful tool. So along with marketing in general, we're taking the anxiety, the fear, the overwhelm out of it and being really clear. So I just want to give a quick background on Kelly. She's a Facebook ad specialist and business growth strategist who specializes in digital marketing strategies to help entrepreneurs and business owners grow their online presence, generate leads, and attract their ideal customer to their products or services. So thank you for what you do, because ads can be, like I said, such a great tool, but so frustrating to make sure it's all working right. So
Absolutely.
so let's just dive right in.
For sure.
We talk about beginner. First, I just kind of want to back up before that and give people an idea of how powerful using ads to run your business can be.
Absolutely. Ads, I don't think anybody is not immune to the fact that paid marketing is a necessary tool in any business. I mean, this is why it costs businesses, millions of dollars to have a 30-second spot on during the Super Bowl. These are reasons why billboards are, everywhere, sometimes to the detriment of our beautiful landscapes. And of course, on social media, this is the next level of marketing that kind of really took over with the internet and such. We've seen the removal of physical newspapers and flyers to your door, and even radio and commercial spots on TV, because media has changed. So now, being online and just looking at any of your social media platforms, you are inundated with ads at any given time. So ads are, it's kind of, I kind of refer to them as a pay to play atmosphere when it comes to growing on any social media. We have to pay the platform in order to gain more reach, more credibility, more following, and to be able to touch people in ways that we can't do organically anymore. And that's just because there's 8-9 billion people on the planet now. At any given time, there's more than 2 billion people on any platform going forward. So you can imagine how big of a haystack that is in terms of trying to find people. So ads allow you to find the people who are more likely to be part of your audience, to convert into your sales, to get into your ecosystem and everything going forward. So it's usually that when we've established business and we're ready for next level growth, that's when paid marketing becomes a more prevalent form of marketing for businesses.
And it really helps us create those automated systems. We can create a funnel without paying advertising, but then we have to kind of manually fill them. And so this is kind of a way to have that working all the time for you.
Yeah, it's I'm probably dating myself, but Ron Popeil back in the infomercial dates, where he had the phrase "set it and forget it," and I think it was like a rotisserie he had at the time. But that can be very much in terms of ads. A lot of times people can run ads and then technically set it and forget it. I never like actually doing that. Don't ever necessarily do that for saying, but it's a really great way of ensuring that you always have a consistent product or service out there that is able to get people into your business. So I love it, even for beginners in terms of lead magnets or lead generation. In fact, the speaker before was talking about webinars and such. Webinars is a major big thing for that first point to get people into your ecosystem. And to be honest, that's the majority of what my clients run are webinars going forward. So anything that we can do to put out there that can just kind of run in the background for us to help us build our audiences when it's done well, and when it's done consistently right. We don't want to ever set and forget crappy ads and whatnot going forward, obviously.
Well, we hear a lot of fear of like, oh, I wasted so much money in ads, and there's a reason for that. It wasn't the ads' fault. It was how it was done. It was not paid attention to. It wasn't converting.
Yes. Yeah. I like to refer to ads as going to Las Vegas. If you were to go to Las Vegas and throw your budget that you were going to spend on ads onto the roulette wheel, you have to be prepared to walk away empty-handed. That's pretty much what ads come down to. The goal of ads, and it's this misnomer when people talk about ads in terms of business growth. Ads are nothing more than a traffic driver. They're driving traffic to whatever your products and services are. They can only do so much. And yes, ads mean you need to know who your audience is. You need to have essentially a good, compelling ad copy or images to get someone to stop. But ultimately, once someone clicks on the link and goes to that site, that ad's job is kind of over. It's up to that landing page to make that conversion. So ads are a fuel to an already burning fire. If you've already got things that are converting well, you've got, you've proof of concept in terms of your organic traffics and whatnot, ads are just adding fuel to that fire. Or if you are using ads to prove concept, then you are testing to see whether you are going to throw money on the roulette wheel and walk away a winner or not. That is what you're doing with it.
Can you touch on that when you're using ads for proof concept, what that means?
Sure. So a lot of times, a lot of businesses will come and they'll say, I want to run ads. I have a webinar, I have a product, I have a service, whatever the case may be. I want to run ads to see if I can make some sales or whatnot. If you don't have proof of concept already, so if you have not sold this product organically, meaning without paid marketing behind it, if you have not proven it converts, or your webinars, your lead magnets, if you don't have enough data that shows that people want what you are trying to offer them, then you are paying to find out whether that is true. And that is a big misnomer for most businesses when they start out, is that, and I've done it myself on some of my own ads or whatnot. We get this notion in our head, I'm just going to throw money on it and I'm going to build it and it's all going to be amazing. It doesn't happen that easily. We have to be willing to really look at the data that the ads are showing us to determine, okay, am I actually getting clicks on the ad? Are people clicking the links on the ad? Are they going to the landing page? If they are, that's not an ad problem anymore. That's a landing page problem. So the ads can then help you determine, okay, there's something on my landing page that's not hitting the mark right. Maybe it is the audience that isn't quite, driving with what you say. Maybe there's something on the landing page that people are like, oh, hard pass. That's not what I thought this was or whatnot. So being able to really understand that data helps you to determine whether you can continue proof of concept or what changes need to be made in order to better the results that you're looking for.
So I want to come back to that. I kind of just want to back up just a little bit. And how do you know when it's time, when you're newer in business, to start running ads? But I want to lead to that.
Awesome. So I often get asked this question is, when do I know it's my time? And there's really three questions that I always preface anyone really ask themselves as a business owner. When you start asking this is really the determination. One, do you actually have products and services that you can run ads to? Oftentimes people are like, oh, I have one product, or I have one webinar, or I have one lead magnet, whatever the case may be. That's great. Do you have at least one? Sometimes I recommend having at least 3 or 4, because then it gives you a bunch of things that you can test out. Is that actually proven? Like, are people signing up for it? Have you sold it organically? Whatever the case may be. Do you have some proof of concept there? The second question is, do you have an audience? And this one is always one that people come back like, well, of course I do. I will sell to anyone who wants to buy from me. I'm not at all picky where your money comes from. That is a big problem when it comes to running ads, because if we sell to all, we sell to none. We have to be a little bit more specific. And this helps you then in determining like your copy and creative when it comes to your ads. If you're trying to get an ad in front of moms with toddler age children, then you're not necessarily wanting to target parents with teenage children. There can be a very big disconnect between that. So with your audience, who are they? What are their likes, dislikes? Do they know like certain people in your industry, or they're big players that you might be able to target in your ads for that? And it has to be more than I will sell to anyone who wants to buy from me. And then finally, your third question is always the biggest one, is do I have a budget that I'm willing to lose in order to collect that data? So going back to Vegas, when it comes to ads, we're basically testing, we're playing with data. Is the offer working? Is it converting? Is my audience working? Is there things that need to be adjusted? Am I making sales or not? All of our ads are telling us this. So we have to be willing to put out money, knowing we may not get anything back in terms of revenue, but we get the information we need going forward. So I always preface with any business, I can't tell you what your budget should be, but you have to be willing to lose the money. And as a business, I never, ever, ever want to see anyone run ads because they need ads to fix something that's broken in their business. So if you are struggling to make something work in your business, you're struggling to make ends meet, you have that Hail Mary pass, please, 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 I need these ads to work in order to pay my bills or whatever the case may be. For the love, please do not run ads. Keep that money in your pocket, work your tail off in terms of organic and connection and all that kind of thing, and don't waste the money on the ads. That's where I'm going to drop that one.
Awesome. So the three things are having an offer that you know that's been proven, that you know works. Yeah. When you say having an audience, you mean knowing who your audience is, not having an email list that's correct, because you're building that.
Correct. Yeah.
But you're specific on who you're speaking to and who this is for.
Yeah, we've probably all heard the terms before, your ideal client avatar, your audience avatar, all those kind of things. You really need to know who it is that you help serve with your products and services. That doesn't mean we need to be, especially for most businesses starting out, we may not know the ins and outs. We may not have built out that 4-page long, this is Claire, she is 36 and she does XYZ, avatar that we have. But we need to know, okay, is this someone, is there an age range that this audience belongs to? Are they men or women? Do they have an interest in some part? So for instance, for me, if I run ads, oftentimes I'm looking for people who are interested in things like digital marketing or paid advertising or whatnot, because those are the markets I'm trying to hit. But that could be very different for someone who is teaching social media management. They may not be looking for paid marketing types of people. So it's these little nuances that help you find the right net to cast out into that big blue ocean.
And with ads, you can experiment with specific audiences.
Absolutely. Yeah. So in a lot of cases, some of us have different branches of business. So for me, I have a branch where I'm working one-on-one with clients, but I have another branch where I'm teaching on ads and such. So they're very different types of people. So you can have different avatars, but the key is really knowing what ads are running to which ones, because they're not going to be combined together. I can't run ads if I was trying to run ads for lead generation on one-to-one clients. They would not be the same audience that I'm trying to attract for low products or my courses or my mentorship programs. So,
right. Which is a great distinction.
Yeah.
And the third thing is having money that you're willing to lose.
Yeah. And that's the biggest, that really is, yeah, that's the biggest one.
I want to kind of chat on that. So in that process, so let's say, okay, I got the three things. You know, I don't
Mhm.
have a ton of money that I want to lose, but I've got some that I'm willing to play with in order to nail this down. What is
Yep.
the nail this down process to make sure that the ad is converting before you put money behind it?
Um, you can run ads for really as little as $5 a day. So if you budget for that, you're looking at, $300 a month is kind of the what I feel is a minimum for most advertisers to begin. And I usually preface with saying, no matter the size of your budget, you need to invest more time than you think it's going to take. So there's always the adage, you're either paying in money or you're paying in time. And if you have a low budget, then you are paying with time, which means your ads are going to take much, much longer to get data. They're going to take you much longer to do testing, and they're going to take you that much more to be able to make adjustments. For example, I recently did a test even in my own business, where I was like, you know what, it's time. I haven't run ads to this. I was testing for a new lead magnet. And I wasn't quite sure what the audience was. So I needed to kind of ground myself first and say, okay, this is the budget I have. This is what I want to try to achieve with this. And then I needed to give myself at least the 30 days to do it. So I was running, because I was running for audience, to see what my audience was, I would run a campaign to one audience branch that I was looking at. I would let it run for 7 days to get enough information to determine, is this audience actually taking the lead magnet? What's the cost that it's costing me to get that, et cetera. Then the next week was a different audience.
But same everything else.
Same everything else. Yeah.
Don't
So
change
different
that.
audience. Yeah. Just to see if I can better the results that I was getting before or not. And then a third week, same thing. I'm testing out a third audience, trying to see if I can get it going, and then and go from there. The problem that most people get when it comes to testing ads is they think they can only test one thing and that's the end of it. You can test audience, and that was the test that I started with. But after audience, it's your copy, it's your ad image. Like there's so many nuances that really come into ads that you have to be willing to invest in testing all of them in order to go forward. So I never really like when businesses want to test more than one thing at a time, because how do you know what one was the reason for success or failure? So in this case, I tested audience. Everything else stayed the same. So it all had the same exact ads. All I was seeing is, are these hitting with the audience or not? Once that initial test goes by, then I can determine, okay, out of my, in this case, whatever audience branch I had that maybe converted the best for this, my next test might be that same audience, but with different ads. So now I'm doing different images with
But
the same copy. Yeah, and the same audience. So then you can see how testing really does get down to the nitty gritty. So again, this is why we say we really want to be able to budget for that long-term testing with these things.
And so each one you test more or less for a month.
In this test, I tested for a month.
Yeah.
And I think for me, my budget I'd set aside for that was about $500 to test that out.
And that was just to determine to the market. You're
Yeah. To
now,
see if I'm hitting the right audience with
mhm.
this particular lead magnet, and what is the cost per lead it's costing me for that. And then the next time I run the test, it would be a matter of, okay, do I want to continue with checking to see if I can find a better audience? Or is there enough data in this? And in this case, there was enough data because it was a month of running the same ads to different audiences. I can determine based on what my metrics are saying, these audiences are not clicking through my ad. So there's either something wrong with my copy or my image that is not hitting the mark in who I'm trying to find with these. Or it can be an indication my audience not quite there yet. We need to do a little bit more testing.
Which could be where they are along their buying journey, or no? Is that
Sometimes, but most, I mean, in this case, it was a free lead magnet, so there's no buy to really worry about. But it could be, it could be the audiences I was trying to get in front of weren't the audiences that needed this particular thing, or there was something in like that in my ad that wasn't hitting that mark right. And I mean, I people always get frustrated when I say, like, testing really is, it's hit or miss on what you're testing and how that testing is going to be sometimes. And this is why, if you are working with small budgets, it takes a long time to be able to test these out. If I had a bigger budget, so in this case, if I really, really wanted to fast track this and to find out faster, then I would probably need to quadruple or higher my budget in that same period of time to get results much faster.
Interesting. And then I know you said not to, and I understand the concept of not changing too much on things. You only want to change one thing, otherwise you lose your measurable, your variable. Would it be possible? So say you want to test your audience, but you also want to test your headline. Could you test only your audience in one campaign? In other words, 1 week you do this audience, 1 week you do this audience, and don't change anything else. And in another campaign, keep the audience the same and just change the headline. So you're double the budget, I guess, but you're running 2 campaign tests at the same time.
You could. My preference, especially with businesses with small budgets or whatnot, headline is not necessarily something I recommend testing, and that's my own thought behind it. I am much better, if I wanted to expedite testing, I would test graphic first. And the reason why is that image is going to be the first thing someone looks at in their news feed. So if I can't grab their attention with the graphic, doesn't matter what the headline or the copy is, they're not going to click through anyway.
Interesting. Okay.
So for me, I have a hierarchy of things I test. And if I know the audience is solid, I know who I'm speaking to, et cetera, and I'm working with just the ad, my image is always going to be the first factor I will test. So a lot of times with testing, I will test 2 to 3 ads in the same campaign. So they have the same audience, they have the same copy, but the image is different. And then I'll run those 3 against each other and see which one is performing better or not, or what I need to adjust. And then that can help me to determine which image is going to catch the attention more. And then I can worry more about the nuances in terms of headline or copy. Again, we have to consider, with small budgets, we don't have the flexibility that we do when we're dealing with 7-figure ad budgets going forward. We can't run more than 1 or 2 ads at a time, no matter what. We just don't have the budget in order to do that, to gain enough data. So we have to be a little bit more selective in what we want to test in order to get the most out of our ad budget. And for me, for most small businesses, that image is the first thing that you're going to see. So that's the first thing that someone's going to say, wait a minute, I need to stop and look at this in order to see if it relates to me or not.
And what do you, and thank you, this is all so valuable. What do you think is, or what do you see most commonly? I know you mentioned a lot of people do webinars, but is really effective form of lead or type of funnel that you see most with your clients to run ads to?
Loaded question. I see everything just because of the caliber of clients I deal with, but majority, the goal of ads a lot of times, unless you're in e-commerce, because e-commerce, obviously our goal is to make sales. We don't often have funnels that we're dealing with. But in service-based industries or coaching and consulting types of industries, our goal is to get people into our email list. And I love when businesses use ads as a form of getting people to that list. And if anyone who has ever lost an ad account or has lost a social media platform due to whatever circumstances, you all of a sudden kind of get grounded in terms of, oh crap, I don't actually own anything on these platforms. I actually recently just went through this myself. I lost my TikTok account after 3 years. It had 17,000 followers on it. And TikTok just decided one day, they thought I broke the rules and they said I could have my account back. Doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong in the matter. They've made that decision for me. I cannot do anything about it. So overnight, I lost 17,000 followers that I was getting in front of on a daily basis. So for me, that was just a reassurance that my email list is the only thing I own 100% in my business. No one can take that list away from me. So if I want to use paid marketing to help me grow my business, especially as a service-based business, getting people onto my email list in whatever fashion that can take is going to take precedent over selling products or services, just in the stage I am in business.
And it's also less expensive, the ads, to run it to something free.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. When you consider the more things you run, the more you start to learn the terminologies and whatnot. But generally speaking, to get someone onto your email list for like a lead magnet, so a free PDF or a free document or ebook or whatever freebie that you're trying to get out, if you can get someone on your list for less than really $6 or $7 right now, you are laughing. You run ads to that all day long, as far as I'm concerned, if you can.
If you can
because
get
we know
for $6 or $7 or less, that's amazing.
Yeah. And the reason why is statistically they show that with an email list, if you can make from your email list, if you make $1 per subscriber from your email list in your business, then you are successful at not only running your business, but of having an email list go through. And that doesn't mean selling just from your email list. That includes all your products and services or whatnot, like your nuances of your business. If you have a list of 5,000 people and you're making more than $5,000 a month in your business, then that's considered successful when it comes to email lists. So for me, I always look at, if I can get someone on my list, I am more likely to convert them to sale down the line organically, or through any other retargeting efforts I do for that. So yeah, if I can get them on my list for $6, $7 or less, I'm laughing. If it's a webinar or something that has that little bit more buy-in to it, that can take a little bit more. So some webinar, and again, depends on industry and niches and all that kind of thing. I've seen webinars as low as $3 and $4. I've seen webinar registrations as high as $25, $26. So it really comes down to knowing what your business specifically can take with that.
Interesting. So if you say, let's say it's a regular lead magnet, you say 6 or 7, would you say that's average or that's low? Like
that's
would
what I see right average now in terms of average.
So let's call it 7. And you're paying for the lead. So does that mean that money is not taken from your credit card by Facebook until they opt in?
No. The way ads work is you are setting either a daily budget or a lifetime budget to get in front of people.
To get the impressions. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say average, with all that considered, it's about $7 right now, because it changes all the time. Right now to get a lead with a free lead magnet. And then if you have a tripwire on the back of that, does that affect the price of the ad because you're selling something? Because it's on the back end.
So that's where you start to get more into your own business results and goals in the back. So a tripwire, or what's called a self-liquidating offer, an SLO funnel, is what can you put behind that freebie that can help liquidate your ad costs. So the goal of those things is really to recoup the money you're putting out in ads and come up either break even, or actually that's where we're hoping we make a little bit of money from that. So in terms of what the ad campaign shows, that self-liquidating offer, that tripwire profit doesn't get included into your actual ad result in the ads manager, but those are things you need to know is in the business. So for instance, if we know, let's say we get 100 people to sign up for this lead magnet that has a tripwire behind it, and we get 10% to convert to that tripwire sale. So that means 10 people have taken that offer of, let's say, $27 offer. Let's make it easy. It's $270, right? But it's costing us $7 per lead to get in. So that means we're paying $700 to get 100 people into our email list, and we're recouping 270 of that cost by the lead magnet.
Costing us like $430 or something.
Yeah. So now we could theoretically look at it as, okay, well, now our leads are actually costing us $4.30 per lead instead of $7, because we're able to recoup that. And I mean, that's a whole nother conversation in terms of that is
It's a whole other interview topic.
that's where those tripwires and those offers, that's why you see those is people will have that $27 offer with a $27 order bump with a $27 or $97 OTO. The whole goal of those is to recoup those ad costs or to make a little bit of money in return. But the goal ultimately is I'm getting people onto my email list for free or for low cost, or I'm making money to do it, is essentially it.
Wow. Thank you. That was incredible. I still could ask you a million more questions about ads. I'm fascinated by them. I used to be intimidated by them, and I'm like, oh no, this is where it's at. This is where it's at. It's just working through figuring out these details. Like this is where people can tend to shy away because it's really overwhelming sometimes, especially when you're new. And that's why it helps to work with professionals to help you move through the new process. But what's on the other side of it? Like once we figure all this out, once we make it self-liquidating, once we get it going, it doesn't even matter if we change our industry and who we work with. Once we have that tool, that's our tool to get people.
Yeah.
So it's, obviously there's the messaging and there's offering, all these pieces count. So it's just, thank you. How can people reach you?
I think I just saw it into the chats or whatnot. My current platform of choice is either Instagram or TikTok. And unfortunately, they are not the same name anymore because I lost mine. But if you search for @KelSturdivant, you should find me on all of them. TikTok has a period in between the two. But that is the best way to get a hold of me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. And then you also offered something into the bonus package. I believe it was a month. The VIP bonus is what I was talking about. I believe it was a month in your membership program.
Yes. So I have a membership program for social media managers and small business owners who are learning ads or just about ready to start running ads for either themselves or for clients, want that extra guidance and support as they're working ads. And that is my community of support that I put into. So it's a $97 a month offer, and I've offered it to your VIPs here for a free month, a 30-day free trial for it. So
thank you so much. That's amazing.